We were finding out that a lot of women were not being able to find a shelter when they were in crisis. So we thought that this shelter that we were trying to open was really needed.
We were very fortunate that the police and the SOS line also saw the need for another shelter as a necessity.
SOS Violence Conjugale, c'est une ligne téléphonique d'aide et de référence pour toutes les personnes qui sont concernées par la problématique de la violence conjugale. Donc, on répond annuellement à 25 000 appels qui proviennent de partout au Québec. Ça existe encore aujourd'hui, un besoin de places d'hébergement, particulièrement à Montréal.
I've been working with the Shield of Athena for 20 years since I came into the police. I was a patrolman on the road, and when the Shield of Athena would have, when we'd have battered women, a lot of times I would refer to the Shield of Athena so that they can take care of the women and guide them from that point onwards. The response of the police for us being implicated was because of the need, and on top of the fact that it was one for ethnic women.
We didn't have the means to finance a house to shelter abused women and their children, and started going with applications and asking for funds from the government.
The first application we made was under the National Homeless Initiative, the IPAC program, and it was refused. But our file was so good because we were targeting women from ethno-cultural communities for our shelter. I was called in to speak about this project. For me, it was one great period of turmoil and anxiety. So everything finally came together, and when we got the yes for the money, it was something incredible. It was a big relief for me.
The concern was the financing and finding a home that was appropriate to our needs.
We had a committee to go and search for a house that it was for our needs.
Finally, after a lot of examination, analysis, and back and forth with our board and everything, we got the government funding. We got only enough for the actual purchase of the house.
It was a huge endeavor. We had done various fundraisers. We had amassed a certain amount of money, but we didn't have enough to purchase a home.
In 1999, we decided that we were going to do a fashion show for the love of women, which would raise funds to open up a shelter for the battered women. We thought that it would be a great idea to take Laval Police, which was the station right after Montreal, and have it done with the both police forces. You know, there are moments in our lives that we remember, and that's one of the highlights, I guess, of my memories in all my life. There was 500 people at that show. People were waiting outside. The police officers in their clothing, in the different types of clothing, and then I'll never forget when they put on their uniforms, and they all came out in the uniforms. We generated $50,000.
I remember having a very positive meeting in the offices of Vera Daniluk one afternoon. I was present, Costia Pandazi was present, Melpa Kamateros was present, and Vera was behind us, supporting us from the beginning to the end.
Melpa, she said, I have 2 years. I've just finished my position at the Montreal Urban Community, and in 2 years, it's enough now. We're going to have that shelter.
Of course, we had a lot of difficulties in the beginning to think how we are going to renovate the house to meet the needs of this project.
Of course, we had to renovate the house, and we had to train the personnel, and we had to take the furniture out of storage and put it in.
I'm very satisfied with the work done in the shelter, and I'm there after we open the house. I'm in this shelter as volunteering twice a week.
In 2004, we opened up our women's shelter for victims of conjugal violence and their children, and this arose from a request from our clients because of their inability to communicate in English or French.
Over 1,000 women and children have passed through our shelter doors since the opening of the shelter. When we opened up the shelter, the first client who walked in, where we thought we were ready, but when that client came in, it was quite overwhelming.
At the shelter, we have the exact same services as we do at our offices, with the exception that the women live at the shelter.
But working in a shelter setting was a completely different thing, because you're working with the women one-on-one on an everyday basis, and they're with you all the time.
I try to always remember when I'm working with women at the shelter, when they're coming into the shelter, that for them, it is a very frightening experience.
So the first languages spoken at the shelter were, of course, English and French, Greek, Italian, Creole, Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, Armenian, and Romanian.
When you come into our shelter, it looks like basically a very large home, a house. It's very homey. It's very warm and welcoming. There's always going to be staff there to welcome the women and to sort of give them a little tour of the house, assign them their own bedroom.
I feel great, and especially when you are cooking something and they really liked it, they were coming and hug me.
I think that the most important part of the shelter was making it a home, not an impartial or cold, four-walled institution, somewhere where they were welcome. And I think that we've managed to do that.
The women who come to the shelter at the beginning, when they leave after 2 months, they constantly thank us. They tell us that we're their family. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't be where they are today. And I tell them the opposite. We're there to guide them and to help them, but it's because of them that they are where they are today.
I came from very violent situation with a big family, 5 children and my sister. The first step was in the shelter. We got basic needs. A roof and clothes and medicine and everything. And then situation was the same, but they tried to prepare me how to fight with the situation. And then step by step we got help for the court, for police, and for schooling, and for therapy classes for the children, because they've been exposed to violence. We don't deserve the violence. Even though I have a big family, I can do everything by my own.
The staff has been phenomenal. Maria has been the head coordinator of that shelter for many years, almost since its inception, if I'm not mistaken. She's been a marvel.
Without her direction and her coordination, the house would not be as successful as it is now.
The biggest problem that women face when they leave the shelter is housing. So my wish, my dream, not mine only, even all the girls, is to open up our second stage home.
I think that we've done something that nobody else has done. And that's why I look forward to our second home.